Okay, hope you all are back. Well, at least I see about some of you are back. It's about 7 people, maybe. Let me just go through this process now. Let's focus on getting started and what we have to do uh, in terms of getting this proposal first, right, done, and then getting it completed before the 15th of January. Uh, excuse me. The slides, of course, these first few slides here, we have the same information that I was just going through, pretty much. Uh, you put that on the slide, so don't need to spend too much time on these things again. Uh, Let me just go through them quickly. These are things that I told you that this is different from just a regular unit where you study and doing the exam, because of these factors that I explained, right? uh, the characteristics that you show through a project like this are these: independent judgment, critical analysis. um, and when do I start? Well, now, actually, today itself. If you haven't thought about this, start now, because like I said, you don't have time to waste. If you want to get that best proposal by January 15th, and not only that, uh, keep this also in mind. Now in your case, because this theory to practice, different groups get it in different time frames, um, the different time of the year. You all starting now means what? That means you all January 15th. In between now, this is today is what, January, so December 10th. December 10th to January 15th. This is the time that usually a lot of people take off from these type of serious work and study and this and that. You take your annual leaves, the leave for vacationing and all that you did do during the year. Um, and then you have plan on trips. You have Christmas coming, so you have Christmas parties, office Christmas parties, family parties, this, that, and everything. And then 31st night, some of go out 31st night, celebrate 31st night. And then sleep with the January 1st with the hangover and all that is there. So because of that, you have to factor in all those in your time factor in getting this by January 15th. Unlike maybe doing it in different some other time, this time towards the end of the year, the end of December, and then the beginning of January, crucial in terms of managing time. So keep that also in mind. Therefore, don't waste even a minute in attending to this and keeping in mind and getting gathering information. And of course, who is responsible? You. Just like even when you do an exam, you are responsible. But here, um, it is actually the more than the instructor. Now I am here to guide you and explain to you these things, and then when you have these one-on-one sessions, even when you show what you have done so far, and then to again redirect you in improving those things. But the main thing is done by you. It all depends on you, and it has your signature on it, in the sense that your characteristics, your way of writing, your way of thinking, and all that is there. Right? So therefore, it is your personality, your motivation level, your commitment, together with your knowledge, that comes out from this project, this report. Keep that in mind. So there's no room for procrastination actually in this one, right? So those of you who are kind of used to keep things, off and putting things off and wait until the last minute, you definitely, if you have, if you are a person like that, you definitely have to change that in this one. Start from now itself, today itself, and keep working at it, right? um, Here are things that you should, keep in mind. Come to these sessions and get things clarified, ask your questions that you have, and see how you can improve what you have been doing or what you have thought of. um, Reading. You have read widely and develop your critical thinking skills. The reading is very important in this one, because you have to gather a lot of information. And when you read these different papers, different journal articles, only you see that how you can uh, guide your thought process. Uh, Understanding the bigger picture first, meaning that what you have to do, right? And in terms of, even when you pick a topic, since this is just just say 1200 to 1200 proposal that you are writing, and later on developed into the bigger report. uh, the bigger picture is that the research that you are doing, right? You are looking at a certain research problem, and you are studying that. You're trying to find out what you can do in, let's say, solving this problem, or in uh, uh, analyzing this situation. So when you start working on this proposal, the bigger picture that you should have in mind is the final report on this study, right? And this proposal is like a summarized version of what is going to happen and what you are going to do. Okay, so if you commit, and if you kind of get into this and if you try to get this proposal with all those characteristics that they describe in that distinction column, by the time you finish the proposal, you have a lot of things that you have gathered, and you have a lot of knowledge about the problem, and you have a lot of information in order to complete these other chapters, other sections in the report. So the bigger picture is not just limiting yourself for this proposal, but looking at the whole project right from the beginning. Okay. And here is how your total complete report going to be. The 9,000 word report. You would have basically split this into 5 chapters. First one is the introduction. In this, I'm talking about this final report now, okay? Because looking at this bigger picture, this is what we are aiming at. And that this introduction in this main report, final report that you are submitting, is basically this project proposal that you do now, that you submit on January 15th, but enhanced and improved after the feedback that you get after the evaluation, and even extended up to about 1500 words. Okay, so that means the first chapter is already done. By the time you finish the proposal, your first chapter is done for your project report, the final report that you submit. Chapter 2 is the literature review, right? And as you can see, this breakdown of these word counts will show you that literature review about 2,500 words, so that has more words in it, or room for more words, because that would be a bulk of your report. And again, discussion, 2,500 words. Those are the two sections which have more words than the other sections, right? So chapter 4, the discussion, is again a place where you would have to use more words. And not only that, discussion is where you can certainly put your signature on it, meaning that you can show your perception also coming into this, and your individuality can be shown within this discussion, right? Because you are then analyzing and discussing the things that you found out about this particular topic, pros and cons, or for and against evidence that you saw about the certain thing, about this particular thing that you are talking about, and what you think about. Also, you can incorporate, right? And then, of course, chapter 3, method of analysis, 1,500 words again, or 1,500 words. In all your reports, each and every one of you pretty much would do the same method in this case, because as they mentioned in that explanation also, you are doing this as using secondary data, meaning the information that is already out there, research articles that are already there, right? Reports that are already there. You are gathering information from them. You are not doing a complete new research, getting into data collections and surveys and all that. No, you are not doing that. So you are not dealing with what we call primary data in a research project, in a research analysis. Primary data means you start collecting data first, right? And then you start analyzing the data. You are not doing that. You are doing this looking at the information that is already existing information, and even the data set. So some numbers, averages, aggregates. So all those things that you can find out through other studies that have already been done. So you are dealing with secondary data. Therefore, pretty much each and every one of you would be doing as a method of analysis what we call the systematic review. Systematic review. Okay. Systematic review is, again, you can Google this and see, is one method of going through secondary data and analyzing them, where you look at this existing information and then systematically select the type of information you need and use that in your. Yes, Mansha.
Yes, sir. Just like, do you have a demo project or yeah, like sample project or past project
I'll
that?
show. I'll show you. I'll show you some. Yeah, a
Yeah,
sample of
sure.
something. I'll show you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks.
and actually, this is where the reading comes in, not too. When you read these papers, journal articles, you will see that the how they have arranged the information. It's pretty much this same order, same way, same sequence of things. In journal articles and academic articles that you see, of course, you will find that they are more theoretical, right? Academic papers. Uh, some of the business reports and things also you can see. You may have already seen in your organizations also you have business reports, and in your companies, let's say you have annual report, right? Wherever you are working at, see, you just look at your annual report of your company. I think one of you said, SCC, they have annual report, and then SLT, I think one of you said, you were working at SLT, Sri Lanka Telecom, they have annual report. Um, and look at that annual report. And annual report, of course, that's a much bigger document, but the arrangement of things, right, are like this. um, they have certain statistical analysis also done according to what happened last year in terms of their income and expenditure and all that, revenue and cost and all that. And then they have certain even proposals and the suggestions, right? What went right, what went wrong, all kinds of things are there. So when you go through this literature's search, when you start reading these things, you will see how these project reports are. But I'll show you a couple of samples also, uh, that it's specifically arranged like this. So method of analysis, everyone would use this systematic review, where you start with a lot of articles. I would say whatever the topic you choose, uh, this is where you have to be you have to take your time and um, think clearly and come up, because the topic, if you set a good topic, that I will show you, I'll talk about the topic in detail also, then that sets the stage right, that gets you the right track, making things easier. Number one of the things when you think about the topic is to see whether you can easily gather the information about this particular thing that you want to talk about. But there are certain things that you have a lot of information. There are certain things that you don't find that much of information, right? So therefore, picking up the topic also important to think before you set in that. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to write about this because I saw this, at the workplace also they were discussing about this. You may it's okay, you start thinking about it and you say, okay, I'm going to do this, and you start looking for information. Then you find out that not very many things that you can find, especially in terms of journal articles, because in this project they say don't use textbooks, don't use newspaper articles, right? Use specifically academic writing, academic articles, journal articles, and reports that have been put out by legitimate organizations, where where nobody can contradict and you can justify, right? Whatever you use from them, World Bank report or Central Bank report, locally, things like that. So therefore, picking up the topic is important. First thinking about all those things, and then settle for a topic. Anyway, this is the big breakdown for the word count, and these are the 5 chapters that you should be focusing for the bigger report. And in that, this first chapter is going to be the enhanced proposal, right? Proposal is what we would be focusing on now. So these are the expectations that we were talking about. Uh, Here is one thing that you can think of when you try to think about the topic: application to address a gap in knowledge and or practice, right? Potential for unique, insightful outcomes. Like, for example, you had a certain problem that you were talking about at your workplace, and they know that even the management knew that you have to do something about it, you have to find a solution for this, but nobody has come up with anything yet, at least a good viable solution. So maybe that is something that you can think of in for this project. So you can say, okay, I can go and search for literature, in this what people have done in similar situations, and whether I can bridge this gap using the existing information and uh, getting into a solution. So evidence-based management means, getting this information that you can back with the legitimate sources. Best available scientific evidence, best available experiential evidence, organizational values and stakeholders' concerns, best available organizational evidence. All these things come in the decision making process, where then you come to this decision of saying this, or you express this as the uh, outcome of analyzing these things. These are things that you can think of in terms of zeroing in on a topic, right? Um, Leadership and performance management. In terms of creativity and innovation, so operations and project management, risk and quality assessment or management, CSR, sustainability or corporate social responsibility, sustainability, corporate ethics, right? Business and management implications of big data, artificial intelligence, incorporating technology into certain businesses or the industries, social media and digital marketing. What are the hot topics and issues of contemporary relevance in your area of interest? So first and foremost, think about what you would like to study further or analyze further and deal with for this project. Because if you like, if you choose something that you really like, you're passionate about, and you, irrespective of even your work requirements, you personally would like to know more about this particular thing, then that itself is enough motivation to guide you in doing the best report, best project. So that is very important. Because if you are not into it, then you don't feel like doing them. You don't feel like reading about it too much. You get bored when you start reading about this and trying to write this. And that certainly is a formula for disaster in terms of the project. Right? It has to be something that you are passionate about, or you just get some satisfaction by knowing it. So choosing a topic, right? Let me uh, say, like for example, I just said that about the SEC. If you are working, at SEC, and then you are thinking about this, and then maybe I can write about this the signs that are there prior to a crash, and how to identify these signs, and what the management can do, or how the management can even inform the clients, right, about the procedures, if what a more efficient way of doing what you are doing already, but a more efficient way of doing that. In this topic, there are certain things, key things that you want to um, have in this topic. Number one, Number one thing about this report that is also, you should keep in mind from the beginning. Even though you are gathering information from all the journal articles and academic articles and things, and the project reports or the organizational reports, the report that you produce, the study that you are doing, and the report that you produce is not going to be an academic paper, should not be an academic paper completely, right? And also, the project that you are doing and the report that you produce is not going to be just a business report where you just present in your monthly meeting or something. So this is something in between. This should have a practical application, should show a clear possibility of being used in the practical world, right? And there are applications to this, and you have talked about the real life things that are happening in this particular industry. But at the same time, it should have the flavor of an academic paper, a research paper. That could be things that you have read from those journals and journal articles. It has that authenticity, or it has that flavor. So this is something in between, not completely an academic paper, not completely just a business report. In between. Okay, keep that in mind. So the topic should involve with a particular industry rather than going for a general topic, like let's say talking about the economy of the country. You can say that if this particular industry is improved, then maybe that will support the economy. So you kind of have a topic involved with that idea that is too general. But if you take a particular industry and then the particular characteristic of that industry, then talk about a particular problem that is in that, how to improve this or how to find a solution to this or something, then that will be seen as something that is applicable in the real world, in practical sense, relevant to that particular industry, and you bring this analysis, then explain this analysis through existing literature by going through that systematic review and only using these academic or journal articles, legitimate sources, so that academic flavor is there, that your arguments or your points that you are mentioning here are solidly supported by those studies that have already been done. That is how you bring in that academic flavor into it. Okay, so it has a specific industry, specific characteristic in it, and limited to a geographical area also. Like, for example, instead of saying uh, the leadership management strategies in uh, I don't know, banking industry, that means it's the whole world, right? And instead of saying that, you say the banking industry in Sri Lanka or banking industry in Asia. Um, so you limit it to a geographical area, because when it comes to certain, most of the time actually, industries, Depending on the geographical area, the things are different, right? And in most of the industries, the way the industry is operating, the function of it depends on the culture, right? The cultural factors from the area that they are operating in will have something to do with the way the industry is operating in that area. And certain countries, certain things do in certain countries this way, and but the same industry, but in a different country, they operate in a different way. So those factors come in. Therefore, limited to a geographical area. So particular industry, particular characteristic, limited to a geographical area, right? Specific topic. Now, when you do like that, now for your um, own industry that you are now working at, let's say if you are thinking about that, then your industry is okay, that is there, then that particular industry. Then if you are thinking about only in within Sri Lanka, then geographical area is also there. You don't have to limit it to Sri Lanka, but you can limit it to some area, let's say South Asia. Fine. Sometimes if you limit certain things to Sri Lanka, you may not have enough information to go with that. Not very many studies done, maybe just for Sri Lankan industry, but you may find information, a lot of information, a lot of studies done and published in South Asia, just for the same industry. So if you expand it to the South Asia, you may find more information, so it is easier for you. That's how then you decide this, right? And then the particular characteristic, particular thing that you are going to talk about, see whether you can come up with two things specifically where you are trying to analyze the impact of one of those on the other. For example, if you are thinking about, let's say, human resource practices, right? Say human resource strategies in banking industry in Sri Lanka. Now, in that, instead of saying human resource strategies in general, see whether you can um, pick a certain characteristic in it and to see the impact of that in improving the performance of the industry. Recruitment practices, in a certain way that they let's say this innovative method of recruitment that they went. Or now, recently we did all this work from home thing, and then some companies, maybe even banking, some of the areas they did, but some of the other places, they continue to practice work from home. They said, okay, such and such departments, they have to come physically to the office, but other departments, they can work from home. Or some people said you have to come to the office 3 days, and 2 days you can work from home. All kinds of different arrangements people made just to facilitate. Now this thing came, right, especially after this COVID pandemic, um, and whether it has helped the company in terms of the bottom line, or what they expect to gain, whether the performance has improved, right? Let's say you are doing an analysis like that, then you can pick an industry, pick a region, and the impact of this work from home strategies on performance. Now that means there are two things specifically you are looking at: the work from home environment or the strategies they used, and measuring the performance level before and after, let's say, right? Before they introduce this work from home thing, and then after. Okay, that means your topic itself, a person who reads that topic, they can get an idea about the whole study you are going to do. Okay, this is what you are trying to analyze here, and you are going to see this connection between this. Um, and of course, there are a lot of people who have analyzed this in maybe certain other industries, but not in your industry. Or maybe they in your industry also there are a lot of information, but they have not looked at this particular side of it, right? So that is the gap that you saw, and that is why you want to look into this further and see whether you can bridge that gap. Okay, do you have an idea now what I'm talking about? So that's why they say in choosing a topic here, say produce a mind map. That, you know first thing you do is you start thinking about, okay, what am I going to write about, what am I going to study about, right? um, I know I'm working in the human resource department, and if my MBA, I'm doing my general MBA, I don't have to limit myself for the human resource factors. I can pick any other topic even for this study. So should I look at something else, right? Or should I look at the connection between the human resource practices that we are having in our company with this particular other thing? So all kinds of different ways to think. That's why they say first, just produce a mind map. And we have a couple of examples down here. Mind map means you just start kind of writing things, the important points from each area. You just draw a picture, draw a map, and seeing how these things are interconnected, and then start, you look at it, yeah, then you see, maybe I can talk about this particular connection between these two. And then of course draw a boundary around the areas for your research project. That means, when you have this mind map, for example, here is a mind map: project management, right? So you look at all the things that are connected with it: integration, scope, time, cost, quality, human resources, communication, risk, procurement, stakeholders, they being concerned about their, it's probably hard to see. Let me get this to the slide, so maybe a little bigger picture then. And then in each one of those, you have these other factors, several other factors affecting each one of these characteristics, right? For example, here integration, uh, the project charter, project management plan, um, control project work, monitor and control, perform integrated change control, close project or phase. These things come in here, right? Uh, Time, define activities, sequence of activities, certain time frames that are given, setting deadlines, development schedules, all that. Cost, right? This, and as you can see, then each branch will have several other factors coming into play, and then you look at this. But then you say, well, I'm just project management in the sense. Let's see. I'm working for human resources, but let's say I'm more interested in uh, the risk factors. So maybe I'll look at this. So that is what they're talking about. They're saying first do the mind map and then maybe draw a boundary, eliminating some of these factors, but including some of the factors where I'm interested in looking at this. Okay. And here, of course, if you choose to look at the risks that are involved with this, then you have plan risk management, identifying risk, of course, um, perform qualitative risk analysis, quantitative risk analysis. What are the responses when you identify the risks? How to control, right? So you have to have a basic plan managing the risks, risk management plan, right? Like for example, those of you who have experienced, these natural disasters, right? Um, in Sri Lanka, of course, we don't have much these things, but if you have experienced in other countries, um, in most of the other countries, especially developed countries, they have these plans for natural disasters, right? And the let's say, for example, if it is a hurricane, and there is a plan in the hurricane, especially hurricane-prone areas. Let's say in the United States, in the East Coast, time to time they get hurricanes. So all those states that are prone to these hurricanes, they have plans. They have evacuation plans. They have supply plans. They know that when this thing comes, sometimes there are road closures and people sometimes get stuck, and how to then um, supply essentials to those people. uh, how can we get people out from these areas within a limited amount of time? What are the traffic plans we have, right? And the what are the notification plans so that people have enough time to evacuate. All these things have to be planned, right? And most of these places, they have all those plans. That's how they minimize the number of losses or number of deaths and property damage. Minimize the property damage also, right? They, in order to minimize the property damage and the loss of life, you have to have such plans and then implement those plans according to the way you planned it in order to minimize, right? And you have seen sometimes, in these type of examples, when I'm talking about the risk management thing, but any other topic that you take, you can think of in these same lines. Logically, what are these other factors that are influencing this particular thing, and therefore, what are the things that I should mainly look at? Um, Even in a building, right? In Sri Lanka, in some places they do it. I think most of the places they don't. The fire drills, right? Uh, Let me ask you this: Have how many of you in your workplace have experienced or have gone through fire drills at least once a year? Anybody? You don't do that? I think we have how many? 8 of you joined now, uh, and I think 8 different workplaces, right? Not two of you are working at the same place. Um, there may be people who are working in the banking industry, but different banks, so so different companies. So none of you. That means have experienced fire drills, right? What that means is that if a fire takes place, fire happens, right? Starts in your building, you don't know what to do. There's no plan. I think there was one, I don't know whether he's still there, the one who was working at UAE. If you are still there, I don't know whether they do that in UAE, fire drills. Maybe it's not there now. This is something that, in the most of the other countries they do, um, at least once a year. Some places do this twice a year. That, if there is a fire, then how to evacuate the building, especially these high rises. Um, Now we have these apartment complexes. So we have, like, I don't know, I don't think even these so-called luxury apartments they do that, right? Because the very first thing that will happen is if there is a fire, you should not take the elevator. You should not take the elevator because the elevator can get stuck at any moment when the cable, catches fire. That's it. So now, how, it's not just climbing down the stairs. Can be, fire can be in some, one floor down, so you cannot go through that floor. Who knows? So these plans are there, and these plans have to be practiced, and the occupants have to be informed properly in order to minimize the loss of life. So that is the type of thing that you look at when you look at a mind map like this, and then trying to limit this to a particular area and then pick, right? For example, here's another, this is a different mind map. They say, look at emotional intelligence, self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, social skills. And then if I limit this only to social skills, then social skills will have these factors coming. So I can look at these factors and see the effect of these factors on emotional intelligence, right? And then that is then looking at the literature, I look at, the studies that have been done in that area. So that is what we mean by first have a mind map and see what are all these different factors affecting this particular thing that I'm looking at, and what is the most interesting to me, what would I like to explore further, and then I pick that area. Is that okay? So it is okay to spend some time thinking about this and picking the right topic, because if you didn't pick the right topic, in the sense that the the topic is not something that you would really enjoy looking into, studying and reading about, then your efficiency level of efficiency will go down in doing this project. So when you draw that boundary, this will be your scope in the sense this is the limitation of your study. Your scope is that you are looking at only that part. Don't make it too big, right? And you don't want it too small also. And these are the examples, the mind maps that we saw. And then the rationale, right? Why would you want to study this topic? That is also a reason, a factor to think about before you settle with a topic, right? it's not just because you like to do this, but can you justify? Of course, you like to do it, but can you justify by doing this? You can achieve this, or you can find out this important thing about this industry. So those factors you have to look into. And then, of course, in the proposal itself, you describe the rationale, or you write a little bit about why you picked this topic, why this topic is being studied. And then you describe the aim aim of this study. That is, I want to, not, you don't use the I, but this study is done in order to find out, or in order to bridge this gap between this information and the practical aspect of it. Or this is done so that this particular practice can be improved in order to achieve higher productivity. So we think about what is our aim of doing this study, right? And when you do that, actually you see the research gap also. When you look at the rationale, that reason for doing this, and aim, what we try to achieve by studying this, basically then you have seen this research gap already, because that is when it will prompt you, aha, so this is something that you can look into and explore further in order to fill this gap, right? So why is it important, and what is known and what is not known? The moment you can categorize this, then you see that gap. Okay. And the objectives, aim and the objectives, usually we put that in this proposal also, uh, as a one section there. Aim is the main thing that we try to achieve here through this study, and the objectives, basically, about in this one you limit this to about three maybe objectives. Objectives would describe how you are going to achieve what you have described in the aim of the study. For this particular project, you don't have to have aims and objective, that is two three different aims. You just keep it to just one aim, right? Remember, like I said, this is a combination. Like, this is something in me, just a business report and an academic article, and we want to limit this to this 9,000 words, the full report. And with all these limitations and the time frame, of course, this is not a big study that we are doing with data collection and then statistical analysis and all that. We are doing this within these couple of months, um, looking at the existing data, secondary data. So with all that, we would limit this to one aim, saying that this is what we are trying to achieve, right? And then this is how we are going to achieve it. Those are, we list three different things, maybe three or four. uh, I suggest three is the good size, because two objectives may be a little bit too little, so that it's hard to describe how you can achieve that aim only going through these two objectives. And four objectives, meaning you have lot of things to write then with each one of these objectives, and you may not have enough room to do that, since we have to limit the word count to 9,000. So with those constraints, ideal sizes may be, right, come up with three objectives. saying that you once you achieve these three objectives, you can achieve the aim, right? Um, so here the objectives, the acronym they use SMART, that is S for specific, M for measurable, A achievable, R realistic, and T timely, right? Um, so if you keep these things in this aim and the objectives also, then that will look good. There are no ambiguities, right? So specifically you say that this is what you are trying to achieve, and through these objectives. Measurable, you can show that this is what happened if this happens, and this is the result if that happens, things like that. It is something measurable. Achievable, realistic, time. So aim of the project is what you are going to achieve, and the objectives are saying how you are going to achieve. Okay. Of course, in your case, this part is made red because in your case, you don't have primary research or primary data collection. So anything. You are not dealing with primary data. You are going with only secondary data. So get the information from journal articles or the reports issued by the institution, legitimate institutions, and what type of articles that you collect on the aim and the objectives that you set, right? Depend on the topic. This is the last one's date. So this one, let me change this to 15th January 2024. For you all, then deadline is 15th January 2024. These are the specific sections that we would try to split this proposal into: introduction, rationale, scope, aim, objectives, theoretical underpinning, that is, whatever that we are going to discuss or study about, what are the theories that people have come up with already, what is in the literature that we can find out, theories or models, things like that, and method of analysis. And this, remember this, they specifically say not to use the subtitle as methodology. Say method of analysis, because that's a difference between a academic, scholarly article, and something in between that academic and the business report type thing. Methodology is something that, the academic papers, academic journal articles use, and using specific methodologies that are described in those areas, right? Theories. But here, method of analysis. As I said, each and every one of you in the method of analysis, you will be using systematic review. So the method of analysis part in each one's report pretty much the same. Same in the sense you describe what the systematic review is, and then you write it down. Of course, depending on each one's writing style and things, there you will see different ways stating these things. But the method is systematic review that everybody will be using. Okay. And of course, evidence and data being, just a little paragraph. you include what is the, what people, anybody can see in the current situation, the current world, present day situation, a little bit in terms of evidence to the topic that you are going to study. And the poster presentation, of course, first slide, this general information, and then second slide, the poster, and then third slide, the references. Okay. This is the project proposal. When you go to the total proposal, then the chapter one is the total report. Chapter one is basically this proposal that you are doing. Here is a like a, what your poster presentation can look like, in the sense that, of course, you may not have all these things, but this is saying that use different ways of expressing things rather than writing this. See, do not copy your written assignment onto PowerPoint, a slide like this. Let's say, because you are preparing this written report, 1000 to 1200 word report, so you have a lot of information in it. You can just copy things from there and then paste it to a slide, right? But that is not what they want to see. They want to see that things explained in short, using minimum amount of words, but maybe using graphs, pictures, uh, different ways of, expressing. Even you don't need to have, full sentences written down and everything in the poster. No, they just look at this, the method of analysis, just to say that is systematic review. If you put something like this, that's enough, right? And this is where they look at creativity, right? How creative can you be in describing this project that you are with, on this one slide, without cluttering it with, sentences and letters and all that. Pleasing to see, inviting to have a look at, and the moment you look at, you get some idea about the project you are doing. Not an easy task, but can be done. Here's an example of one person, somebody who had done this as a presentation, and this is not a good poster presentation. Why? Because it's very monotonous and it has only text, only letters written down, and the things taken from that report. In the report itself, you have one paragraph, let's say background of the study, and from that paragraph, this person had taken two sentences and copied it here, right? Theoretical underpinning, same thing. Method of analysis. See, use of journal articles for a systematic review. Articles selected from last 10 years on digital workplace adoption. Evaluate and compare different articles related to positive impact on employee productivity. Method of analysis. These are things that I'm sure that he or she had in the report also. Proposal written part. Scope, aim, objectives. This aim and objectives are exactly the things that they have in the report, because you cannot change aim and objective much anyway, right? But even that, see whether, instead of just copying and pasting here just the letters, just the text, see whether there is a way of describing that using graphics. right? Maybe not all 3 or 4 objectives you have to write in words. Maybe 1 or 2 objectives you can show using graphics, and the others you write down. That's fine too. But somehow make it something interesting to look at rather than being monotonous like this. Okay, that is how, that is what you should keep in terms of preparing the poster. So in the, when they evaluate, these are issues that you have to avoid. That is, um, the similarities. When they run this through, turn it in. The TII is for that, turn it in, which is the software that they usually use to check for the similarity index, I guess. Make sure that you would avoid having to do a Viva, um, and then AI usage. Right? Don't I mean You can use it, like I said, in terms of gathering knowledge, learning about things, fine, yeah, but don't use directly anything from AI directly onto your report. And this 5 minutes presentation, right? Remember, in this second slide, you record your voice presenting this, your project, describing in 5 minutes. That too, write your own script, write your own script and read it. Just take this as a challenge to test yourself. Can I explain this whole thing in 5 minutes? If I am to explain this, what are the important points, key things that I need to mention, so that listener, a person who is looking at this poster and listening to me, will understand clearly what this project is all about. Right? You have to think like that, and then um, put something together and into this, and then record something. Even just a regular PowerPoint, you don't have to go to Panapto in practicing this. Even regular PowerPoint, this slide here, you can see here you have the uh, mic, right? And you can click on this mic and then say something and record that as an audio file on the slide. And then when you play, um, you play the audio file, then you get the sound, right? For example, now things, if I click this button, and then if I say I'm going to say these things, and whatever now I say, it's being recorded, right? I have this little picture here also. This is just a regular PowerPoint, right? Pinapto has, I think, even more sophisticated stuff, um, and you record that on the slide. And then, of course, once you get back, you would have this, say, and whatever now I say, it's being recorded, right? I have this little picture here also. This is just a regular PowerPoint, right? Pinapto has, I think, even more sophisticated stuff, um, and you record that on the screen. Did you see that? Those of you, if you haven't done it, this is a very easy, nice, not a difficult task. So what you can do is you create this slide, and you don't need the video, of course. Now, in my case, I put the video also. just to show you that the presentation. But you don't need the video; you only need the audio. Okay, and record your explanation, how you can explain this, and then play it back. Listen to yourself, and then you yourself will find out how to improve. You realize that, oh, well, that part I didn't explain clearly. I think I should find a different way to say that, and then get of your friends or your siblings, someone, a co-worker, to listen to it, and then get the feedback. Okay, so if you listen to this, do you understand exactly what I'm going to do, what my project is all about? If you don't, if anything is not clear, tell me, you know, and then you improve it. That's why I said that you have, start from now itself and get things together so that you can do these type of things, having the, putting the poster together and practice this audio file or recording the audio at least, maybe a week or, a few days before the deadline. So you have time to get the feedback from other people also and redo it, edit it, improve it, and get the best product out when the deadline comes. Okay, the time is very important. Don't wait till the last minute. So post the presentation is that, and like I said, um, even in here they say if AI is high on written work, in the poster presentation, the student reading directly from the AI generated wording. That is, because as you may have experienced already, that if you want to give a speech under a certain topic, then you say I want to give a 10-minute speech under this topic, and then ChatGPT will give you a speech right away, and then you can get a save it somewhere or get a printout or whatever, and then you can go somewhere and give the speech. But the thing is, if you read something coming from ChatGPT, people who are familiar with ChatGPT can recognize that this is coming from this. So these people, they even have software to identify the the similarities. So they will catch. And if your audio presentation is full of all these artificial intelligent characteristically artificial intelligent words and phrases and the style, then they recognize them. Okay, and then they will call you for advice. So that's additional work, extra hassle if you had to do it. So avoid that by any means. Don't get into uh, those things. Um, anyway, so let me see. Any questions so far? No questions? Okay. Let me show you then.
Hello,
Share
sir.
with you. Yeah.
Sir, that means during our research, we do not need to collect primary data. Is that so, sir?
Exactly. Don't go into collecting primary data. They actually say that for a couple of reasons. One is, of course, you don't have enough time to do collect primary data and go through a data analysis process that you gather new. For example, let's say you pick a topic like effect of this particular, I don't know, management practice, something new they introduce, and on the employee satisfaction, right? Something that you want. So you give a survey to the people at your workplace, or maybe now you collect the survey, and now you have to analyze this. For that, you can do this qualitative analysis, but then you can do a statistical analysis of these points that you collected, and these things will take more time. But here, what they want you to show, that the you have learned how to use the things that you have learned in these classes in the MBA project so far, through the MBA classes, how to handle that, how to use that knowledge in approaching a problem like that. So when you need to do it, when you need to do a, let's say, a real study at your for your workplace, or something else, then you can gather primary data and do it, right? That's number one. Number two, when you collect primary data that involves other people, right? When that involves other people, then there is a ethical clearance that you have to obtain, even collecting data. Now in Sri Lanka, of course, people don't adhere to these things much, and then if you want to do a survey, then you just go and give to your co-workers, go and say මේ MBA එකක් කරනවා, මේකට පොඩි study එකක් කරනවා, මේක පුරවලා දෙන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා. Then people just fill that out and give it to you. Sometimes you use the Google sheet, and then you send it to your friend circle, or co-workers, and then get that done. I mean, I'm even my email box, that especially these graduate students who are doing masters and PhDs. I'm doing a study like this. Da, 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 please, can you please fill in this form and send it. But usually, you should not be doing that without ethical clearance, in the sense that you should attach with that the ethical clearance form from the, let's say, for example, if it is you who are doing that, then the Bedfordshire University should give you the ethical clearance for you to collect data from that specific group of people, or from the companies, or whatever. And in order for them to do it, they should know exactly how to protect themselves if somebody complains that their information has been used improperly, right? So that's why those problems are there. Therefore, they say no, not using primary data, but use secondary data, which are public, the documents which have been published in journals, and access have been given. Ah, in that topic, that on that topic, that these journal articles, some of the journal articles, sometimes may Google the topic or whatever that you want to find out, and then they will say, okay, so and so had it in this journal, and check that. But when you try to access that, then you don't have access to that, because that particular journal has not given the public access. Then you can access that through Bedfordshire Library, since you are students registered at Bedfordshire University. You should have the access to their library facilities. If you don't have that, then talk to OCB and see how you can access that. In the BRIO site, under this theory to practice unit, there is a section where they explain to you uh, what things you have access to and what things you don't have access to, in terms of gathering information, or in terms of literature searches. So go and read through those things and find out uh, all the things about how you can access these journal articles, which are not in the public domain. Most of them are in the public domain. You can access just through general search engines, but there are some that sometimes they're limited to only the journal subscribers. In that sense, then the library should be able to get you, um,
Yes, sir.
Sagar is
Uh,
asking, sir, is the poster is a one-page summarized version of the main 1,000-word assignment. Audio is a description of the poster, or should in a one submission. Yes, exactly. That is right. Poster is just one slide summary of that proposal that you wrote, 1,000 words proposal. Summary in the sense, it's not, you are not necessarily summarizing exactly what was there, but you are presenting that idea of the proposal in a different way on the slide using visual things, right? And then your presentation, the audio, is again, you are giving the same thing, same information out, now using your words, right? I mean, spoken words, and then describe your proposal in 5 minutes, and then you record that on the slide, all submitted on the 15th or little maybe prior to that. And what is the topic? Well, topic is what you choose. That's why you have to think about it before you settle with the topic. Think carefully about all these factors and see, now when I say that, you may even have two, three different ideas, right? Even now, you may be thinking, okay, maybe I can do, a study like this, or maybe I should, maybe look into this. Two, three different ideas. Fine. Google this and see what type of information you can find out about these things. Um, can I find a lot of journal articles on this topic, right? Or at least similar things. If I cannot, then I may not have enough information to go through a systematic review and then get information that I need to complete the project. Therefore, maybe I will switch the topic. I will drop that topic and then go with something else. Okay. Um, the third slide is only the references. You list like 8 or 10 references. Uh, that's the third slide, right? And again, that is described there. The in that document that I showed you, that you can download uh, from Brio site. So the first slide is the just the topic and your name and your student number, and your, this is the project, the presentation submitted for this MBA program. And then the third slide has only the references done in that Harvard style, right? 8 or 10. You may not be, if you had more than 10 references in your written document, that's okay. You don't have to go to everything on the slide, because then the slide will be cluttered. Just 8 or 10 references onto that third slide would be enough. And the second slide is where you have the presentation. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have to use the articles and the secondary sources to the this research, right? So without
Uh-huh.
getting the questionnaire and interviewing without,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yes.
in
Don't.
addition to that, in the 1,000 word, so we have
Uh-huh.
to make a PowerPoint presentation. In that, it has to be 1,000 words plus 5 minutes audio, right, sir? So with the
thousand words,
presentation.
1,000 words in the written proposal, right?
Okay, so
The PowerPoint, one slide presentation, PowerPoint. In the sense
okay,
that, of course, again, let me explain that again. You have 3 slides in the presentation, but the content of the proposal is only on the one on that second slide. First slide is just the name and the information, student number. Third slide is only the references. So the presentation is only that middle slide. Is that
so
okay?
that means yeah. So we do not need, we have to make a separate Word document with 1,000 words, and we have to summarize that
Exactly,
and get it
exactly.
to the
Ex-
presentation, or the presentation should have 1,000 words.
No, 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 no. The PowerPoint doesn't have PowerPoint. You cannot have PowerPoint because it's just one slide. So the proposal, the Word document, has 1,000 or 1,200 words, right? That also you submit. That is 1,000 or 1,200 words without the reference, and 1,000 or 1,200 words in the proposal. Then you have references also in that document, and you may have 15, 20 things, that we referred to, you use. So all those references you list in that document. So that is the Word document that you submit as the written proposal, right? And then you have these three slides, right? For example, let me just show you, that, like I showed you, that how that thing is recorded. Um, Let me just say, if I just copy this and I go down here now, and then I get the new slide, and now here I have, this, and my topic is, say, impact of, I don't know, HR practices or human resource. Let me say, something specific here. It's not the general human resource practices, but whatever the specific thing on, right, let's say that's the topic. Then I have this. Then I have third slide. In the third slide, then I have, just the references. So I would just put, the something like that, and then 2000, so 2015. Oops. Um, Something like that. So these things, of course, you list like the 10 of these on that slide, and that is your third slide. So these are the only three slides that you have, right? Oops. In your poster presentation. Out of that, on the second slide, you have that voice recording also. Okay. So for example, you can just, like I did earlier, you can go with this and say that, oops, that I do that. I want to get the audio. Seem to get stuck. Okay. And then start recording this. Okay. Then I say, I'm Thilan Hewage, and then my topic is this latest human resource practices, the impact of human resource practices on the productivity and the to explain the background of the study, that when I was looking at the literature, I found this gap. It's found a lot of studies that have been done, this, but there were not enough information that I could gather about this particular aspect of human resource practice, and therefore I decided looking into this further, and I found about 40 different articles written on this particular area, and I used systematic review as a method to get down to uh, 15 main the journal articles regarding this area of interest, and then I went through the systematic review in selecting this. And these are, the aim of the study was this, and and then you explain what you went through, what you did in going to the study, and then here is your audio file, right? And then when they have then I say, I'm Thilan Hewage, and then my topic is this latest human resource practices and the impact of human resource practices on the productivity, and to explain the background of the study, that when I was looking at the literature, I found this gap. It's found a lot of studies that have been done, but there were not enough information. That I don't know whether you can hear the audio. Can you hear the audio here in this? And therefore, I decided.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
can hear.
Oh, okay. I found now see, this is exactly what I mean. The Now see, I just started saying something that I was not thinking about this. So I'm the this is maybe and that's not the way you should have your audio, right? Your audio, I mean, you should speak clearly, and you should be prepared to say what you say, and you should show that confidence in what you are saying. Right. This is what happens when you do that without being prepared, without having thought about it, right? The you just this is what happens if you try to do this last minute, basically. I'm glad that you got me to do it, because then you know exactly what will happen. The When you try to do this last minute, this is how it will come out, because now you are pressed with the time, and you don't have enough time to just tweak with this, or you just kind of say, okay, I'm going to say this and then record this and send it. You cannot do that. I mean, you will not get a good grade, and you will not be happy about your performance, and you will not be satisfied. So that's why I say that you have to practice this, and sooner you get the things going, the topic selected, and then some material collected, and having some idea about what you are going to say, and even some things written, is better, because then you have enough time to put this poster together and record something. uh, um, Faslan is asking us, so can we add two documents in the Brio? Word with 1,000 words and PowerPoint presentation with 3 slides. Well, what do you mean? Whether can we add two documents in Brio means, that means when you submit it.
Yes, sir. So
Yeah,
normally
when
we
you
do
submit
submit
it.
a PDF. So we will be able to add two documents. So we need
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, they will have specific instructions in for the submissions, that saying, okay, your Panapto submission you can do through this, and your written document submit through this, and all that information will be there. And if you have any doubt that when you go through the instructions that is given to your site, You just contact OCB, Oxford College, and talk to someone there, and then they will help you out with all the technical things like logistics, actually, in the sense how to submit it and all that. Uh, it's Word document you submit through one link, and the pen up to this poster presentation you submit through another link. I think that is how they set up usually. Is that okay?
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, can I get some clarification regarding the topic?
The topic clarification so far, what we went through is that be specific. Take one specific industry, right? And one specific characteristic that you want to talk about in that particular industry, where the best thing to do is to make sure that you can kind of say that you can have two variables that you are looking at, kind of thing, like impact of this on that, or impact of implementing this strategy on performance or on productivity, or impact of I don't know, say the do you remember one of you said you were working at IT and then looking at products, I think, performance of products or agility, I think, analyzing those things. So let's say if, the your company at the moment, you don't have something like that, but you are thinking of uh, introducing that to your product, so that you can test these things first, and in that way. And so you say, find out the whether you can study that impact of introducing such procedure in terms of enhancing the marketability, or enhancing the in that sense, I think, in that the quality, enhancing the quality. So that means you are looking at two specific things that impact of something, and or analysis of something, and depending on the effect of that on something else, where specifically you can say, this is my if you want to use the terminology, dependent variable, and this is my independent variable, meaning the depending on how this changes, the other factor will be affected and changed depending on that. So have something that, and then have some geographical area that you are going to look into in this matter, rather than say, taking the, let's say, for example, if you take I don't know, say apparel industry. If you say apparel industry and you are going to study some characteristic in apparel industry, then it's the apparel industry in the whole world, which is not easy to do, because there are a lot of things that you can gather, you can read, and from one area to the other, things are different. Therefore, there are a lot of different things that you have to focus on. Whereas if you say apparel industry in Sri Lanka, right, very limited area, and you can focus on specific things in that area, or apparel industry in Asian, South Asian market. So you can, maybe Sri Lanka, India, and Bangladesh. So the topic is, you have to come up with your own topic, thinking about these factors, and even looking at the possible topics. Like I said, you may first have two, three different ideas in your head. Now, maybe I can write on something like this. Maybe I can do this research on something like this. Two, three different things. First day or two, you check on each one of them. Google, and find out information. See how many things that you can find out, how much of information you can gather, what are the type of articles that you can see in each one of those topics. And then there may be one of those topics that you can find a lot of articles about, and maybe there's another one you don't have that many articles written about. So you drop that one which doesn't have much information, because that, you may not be able to find enough information to talk about. And then you go with, then you have maybe one or two left, and out of that you pick the one that you like the most, because you think that, yeah, I have been always interested in looking into this or studying this or knowing about this, so I might as well pick that, so that I will learn a little bit more about it by the end of the project. And then you pick that, and then you go with that. Okay, so each one will have that unique topic depending on all those factors and your own personal preference. Okay, so like I said, if you are doing a general MBA, then you can pick a topic in any area. If you are doing in specialized, one of those specialized areas in MBA, then you have to pick a topic in that particular area that you are specializing your MBA in. Is that okay?
Hello, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
Okay.
before we are submitting the research proposal, will there anyone supervising that or reviewing that, sir, or do we need to directly upload it?
No, no. This is. I think you probably missed the first part of the class today. I explained that. That is, we have these two classes, and then before you submit it, they will set you up with a one-on-one session that they will info. Oxford College will inform you times. You sign up for one of those session times, which is 20 minutes usually per person, and each person will get a 20-minute discussion with me. People who are in my class will get that, the discussion with me, and then uh, show me what you have done, and then if there are things to change, then I will, tell you that and how to improve and all that, and then you do those things and then you submit it. So you get one session before you submit this proposal, and then you get, I think, couple of sessions, two sessions like that before you submit the final proposal, the project report. That is, down in February or something like that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, you are welcome. Somebody else also had a question. I think somebody else was trying to ask a question.
Yeah, this is Sagar here. Actually, sir, we are used to
Yes, sir.
do the assignments like having a table of content, introduction, and finally the conclusion, and with the recommendations and, as well.
Mhm,
Is
mhm.
this thing carries these things, sir?
um, you can use some of them, but in this case, stick to only the specific things that they want you to do, because even a table of contents will take some words into it, and it goes into the word count. And if they don't ask you to produce a table of content, that's fine. But in this case, it's okay just to put a little, table of content thing where you describe, these subsections. Um, that's fine, but that is the regular. uh, for example, the specific things like they specifically say, don't call that subsection methodology, but say method of analysis. Now I know, it's good that you asked, because I, in previous classes, um, there were some reports, some people who maybe they didn't, they were not in the class and they didn't get this instruction, or they did read the instructions from the Rio even. They had the final report from those formats that they had before. Prior to this, they have done these reports in other places, just like that, which, the moment they see that, they know that you have not even read the instructions, because the format is completely different. So that is why, even if you are used to different formats in submitting project reports earlier, just stick to this, read through what they ask you to do and stick to that, and submit it exactly the way they want it, so that you show them that, number one, you have read the instructions and you have kind of paid attention to those things. Number two, and you can you have the ability to adjust and especially the people who outsource the project report. They those people had completely different format, and because the people who are, when you outsource it, those people just know how to do the report the way they do it, and then last minute they send it, and then you submit it, and the moment they see it, they identify this as someone who was not seriously doing the report, maybe who got somebody else to do the report, those type of things. So avoid all that, at all costs, and do it according to this what they have suggested for this particular report, right? Nothing
So
more,
where can
nothing
we,
less.
yeah, so where can we find the format of this one, sir?
They have listed that, in that document itself they have that. uh, in this one itself, I think they had it. Let's see,
We
the
should
one
not
that
come
I showed.
with the conclusions and recommendations, no? That's all.
They didn't have the conclusion and the the recommendation they put actually. They this one itself here. Right there. See, uh, the let me show you this. I think in this document also they had it, and then there's other documents also describing the format. Let me get this one first. Okay, in this document at the beginning here, they said here rationale, right? Potential for insightful outcome. That means this is like the even the background and describing why you did this, why you selected this particular topic. Scope, aim, and objectives. Application of theory into practice means this is the theoretical background. Method of analysis, and of course when it comes here, when you have, they say method of analysis. They should have the I don't know why this, maybe they missed that, or maybe that went to the other page. They should have the conclusion and the reference. Actually, let me show you if they had this document. Um, Let me see whether this document has it. Then I can show you that. Conclusion and the references should be there, because let me get this off and then get this other document. In this document, I think one, maybe the last page has it, that was not, that was missing or something. Let me get this here. Let me get this one on, so maybe you can see that in this. Okay. This document is also probably there, but I didn't download this time. This was from the last time what they had. Um, Here is the for the main document, right? That would be there in the full report, that 9,000 word report. You have the introduction, which is this proposal, right? Which is this proposal that you are writing first, submitting on January 15th, is going to go as the introductory chapter of the main project report. Okay, so that introduction is that basically. Then you have the literature review and method of analysis, two subsections. Right? And then you have discussion or the critical evaluation, analysis and discussion or the critical evaluation. Then you have the conclusions and then the recommendations, right? Conclusion and the recommendation. And then you have the reference. So conclusion and the recommendations, of course, you don't have to have recommendations. Also, usually you can say conclusions, depending on the type of study. That usually the recommendations come when you have the the to do the research with the primary data. With the secondary data, also you can, depending on type of study, but uh, better to stay away from recommendation, but you should do your conclusions. Then you have referencing. Okay, so that is for the final report. uh, but you can have the same structure for the proposal, where you don't need the the, the discussion, right? You don't need a discussion for the proposal, because the project proposal is just to inform about the type of study that you are going to do. Okay, yes, Mansha.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sorry for the interruption. This is a different one that I that means in the 9,000 words presentation, we need
Mhm.
to do a oral presentation, same kind of
Not
thing,
not
or
not
like
not on, no, not in that, not in that. This
only
5 minutes
the
oral
9,000
presentation
reports.
is only for the proposal.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. um, the reason why I actually brought this 9,000 word the project report also in the first day itself, talking about that, is because the proposal, when you do the proposal, you should have the idea about this final report that you are going to write also. And that is when your proposal comes up, you can put things together, because you know exactly what you are going to do for the whole project. And that is how then you can, because this in the proposal, you know what you should have is, let me you can even maybe write it down. the the proposal, this 1,000 word or 1,000 to 1,200 word document, use split this into little subsections like this. Start with, of course, an introduction, right? Introduction is just to give a little background about this particular thing that you selected, you decided to study, talk about, right? Remember, this is only 1,000 to 1,200 words, so you don't need a whole lot in the introduction itself. Then you put the rationale. Rationale meaning the reasons why you pick this particular topic, And then the scope, meaning the limitations that you brought in, like, you know, you limited this to Sri Lanka, or limited this study to Asia because of these reasons. And then the aim of this study is to evaluate this, or, you know, analyze this or something. And then the objectives, aim and objectives. Then theoretical underpinning or theoretical background regarding this particular area that you are studying. Method of analysis, you mentioned that, you know, going through the secondary data and then using systematic review process. And then the evidence meaning the things that you have gathered from the existing literature, um, and how the certain people have done this particular character, you know, particular uh, topic that you are studying. And those are the sections. So you can introduction, rationale, scope, aim and objectives, you can put that as one subsection. So theoretical underpinning, method of analysis, and evidence. 7 subsections, let's say. Is that okay? So arrange this proposal, these 1,000 words, into these 7 subsections, then 1,000 to 1,200, like I said. Let me see whether I can show you something here. Okay. Here's one of the old ones that, you know, one student had submitted sometimes back. So this is the 1,000-word proposal, right? Impact on employee productivity by implementing digital workplace strategies in manufacturing organizations. Now, in this one, I would say the topic is not specific enough in terms of geographical area. So you have to do, like, you know, a lot of things you have to go through manufacturing organizations in the whole world, basically. Uh, Limited to a certain area geographically also, it would make things easier for you. So the first page, and you know, he or she have put the table of content also, like you said. Yes, these are the sections. See, background, that means introduction. I said within the introduction you can, you know, describe the background. Rationale, scope, aim and objectives, theoretical underpinning, method of analysis, evidence, references. Is that okay? And here's the background. And this document is actually 1,572 words, but that is with the references. Let me see if I take the references out. References. Oops. 324 words in the references. So when you take that out, it's just 1,200 basically, right? So 1,200 is okay. Background, and then the rationale, scope. The review will focus on how employee productivity has a need to implement such strategies, require new competitive edge in the market. Organizations face challenges in changing this. For this research, manufacturing organizations from Europe. So he mentions that here, but it should have been mentioned in the topic itself. So the topic is very clear there. For this research, manufacturing organizations from Europe with employee the age group of employee age group of 25 to 35, including both male and female, will be within the scope of this research as the largest. So scope is that always, you know, what are the boundaries that you have set in studying this. Aim and objectives, right? 3 objectives like this, you know, 3 is good enough. Not going to a lot of objectives, because these are, that is one thing that you should keep in mind. the objectives that you list here, when it comes to your project report, 9,000 word report, in your discussion, you have to show that you have achieved these objectives through this information that you have gathered by going through the literature. So if you include 4 objectives, you have to show all 4 objectives that you have achieved these things. So it's a little bit more work. And 3 is enough, good enough. So therefore go with 3. 2 doesn't seem like that much, so it looks like little, only too little. So therefore go with 3 objectives. Now notice the way the aim is also given. The aim of this research is to, and look at this, identify the factors causing improvements to employee productivity in a traditionally driven manufacturing organizations when implementing digital work strategies. Right? This is pretty much actually same thing as the topic, and you don't even have to reword it. You can say aim of this study is to analyze or to study the impact on or impact of implementing digital workplace strategies in manufacturing organizations on employee productivity, or impact of this implementing this on employee productivity in manufacturing organizations in Europe. That's the aim. So aim is pretty much like having the topic there and just saying the aim of this study is to analyze that, right? What we described in the topic. Then the objectives, how to achieve that aim, how to get there. Then first one is to critically evaluate the employee productivity with traditional approaches in manufacturing organizations. Meaning, you describe, you find out how to measure productivity and how that prior to this, what were the traditional way of achieving these measurements. So finding out these things in manufacturing organizations. Objective number 2, determinant of digital workplace strategies. So look at the digital workplace strategies, and then what are the key factors, especially influencing the productivity, right? And then third one, basically again achieving the same, basically like the critically evaluate the relationship between the digital workplace strategies and employee productivity in manufacturing organizations. So in other words, that's why I said in the topic, if you have 2 specific things that you are looking at, you're looking at effect of this X on Y, right? Then your first objective is studying the characteristics of X. Second objective, finding out about Y. Third objective, analyzing the effect of X on Y. Very simple. So it's much easier than if you uh, come up with a topic that has all that in it. That is specific industry, specific 2 specific things that you are looking at, the effect of one thing on the other, or impact of one thing on the other, or what happens to one of these and when the other changes. 2 specific things in that industry and in a particular geographical area, so that you don't have to read through everything about that industry all over the world. um, and then all these things will also fall in line, because the topic itself is designed that way. You understand the importance of coming up with the right topic then, which sets the stage for everything else afterwards. And then theoretical underpinning, section 5, digital workplace strategies, human resource strategy to support digital workplace, productivity impact. These are all now coming under this theoretical background of these things. Method of analysis. This research will consist of detailed systematic review of carefully selected journal articles and secondary data reports to identify the key factors and relationship between those 2 things. The article selected for the review will be within specific criteria defined under scope of this research. And then evidence, just describe what we have seen. The literature review outline above will evaluate the impact brought forth by implementing digital workplace strategy, the need to improve business efficiency, and few of these things. Depending on, of course, your topic, you will just give some evidence and then the reference listed. This is in Harvard style. And in this report, this is something that you would see when you submit and you get the feedback. These comments. Okay. After evaluating your report, they put these comments and you give you the score and send it to you back. Okay. So grade 38 out of 100 for this particular report. And feedback to the learner. While there might be potential for a feasible project as presented, this is not well framed. The approach is vague and discursive rather than focused and in-depth. Try to refine the aim and the scope more precisely. Is evidence available in quality academic sources? Right? Those are the comments given. So now, if you get comments like that, you have to address those comments, go and change the things around, redo things, and answer in these things, and refine the proposal. And you can now go up to about 1500 words in terms of word count for this thing, and make it as the introductory chapter for your 9000 word project report. Right? Once you get the feedback like this after January 15th, I think in about 2 weeks or so, you get the feedback. And during that time, you should be working on your rest of the chapters, 2, 3, and so on. Even now, for that matter, even though you are submitting this proposal on January 15th, while you are working with this proposal, building this up, you keep gathering information, reading these journal articles, jotting down the information, and let me quickly show you this too, I think, and preparing for your other chapters too. Okay, let me see whether I can get. Okay, let me show you this. This is a type of document that you can maintain when you read these articles, right? And this will come in handy in your chapter 3 also, in your bigger report, project report, where in chapter 3 you have to describe your method of analysis. In that, you can even put a table like this and say this is how you analyze things, or this is how you extracted things. When you gather this information, when you read these articles, have a table like this. Mention, okay, this is the author, and maybe the article title, or the this person and the themes. This is sometimes thematic analysis, sometimes called, but instead of that, you just say that if you create a table of findings, these are the important things that you picked up from that article. Right? So you write it here, and you do like this. Then you can even see sometimes the findings in the first one and the findings in the third one. You see similarities, and you see like this matches with this person also. I'm talking about the same things. Or sometimes you see findings here is contradictory to the findings in the fourth paper that you read. And then in your discussion you can bring those things up. You can say that, even though this particular study said this other study said like this, and this is due to they have mentioned that this is due to these factors. So you are critically analyzing this information that is out there about that particular topic that you are discussing about. So try and see whether you can create something like read these journal articles and reports and things and gather information. Um, Maintain something like this, then it will help you in putting the information together, writing the proposal, and also writing the report. And you can take that as your, part of your method of analysis. You can say, I went through this thematic analysis, and these are things that you found out. Is that okay? So the main thing, first thing you should do is think carefully now about the type of topic that you want to uh, pick. Sagar is asking 1,000 word and 9,000 assignment are to be done in one. Yes, of course. Now this 1,000 word thing, Sagar, is the project proposal. Meaning that is the project you are going to do. So your 9,000 word report is the complete project report for that project. Okay. So that of course that is the same thing. So you once you pick the topic, that is the topic. Sometimes what happens is, you pick a topic and then you do this proposal and you submit it, and then like that comments, those comments I showed you, they send a comment saying that the topic is not specific enough or something. And then of course you adjust the topic according to that, and then your new topic is a little bit different from the one that you submitted with the proposal. That's okay, but your study is that, right? Your research is that, that you started doing this research. And 1,000 word thing, 1,000, or you can go up to 1,200 even if necessary. It is the proposal. That means you are telling them that you plan on doing this research, and you then submit that research paper or the project report in that, on that second deadline, whatever, maybe March 8th or something, um, which would have the detailed description about the study. And in that, out of that 9,000 words, right, out of those 9,000 words, 1,500 word introduction is just this proposal that you do now, enhance little bit up to 1,500 words, because the introductory chapter usually describes what is coming after that, what is this all about. So this proposal is doing that. What is this study all about? What is this research all about? So therefore you don't have to write a separate introduction for that 9,000 word report. You just adjust this proposal into that introductory chapter in that bigger report. Is that okay? Okay. Now, what you should do is, if you have
Sorry,
important
just
one, start.
sorry for the interruption, sir. This 9,000 word count includes the this project proposals as well. Is that so?
Yes. Project proposal is going to be your introductory chapter in that 9,000 word report. Okay.
Uh,
So therefore, project
Even the
proposal
project
that you
proposal comes earlier. I mean, altogether it should be 9,000. No, the project report
yeah. It,
plus the assignment
project
altogether 9,000.
no proposal is also the part of the assignment, of course. Proposal, this proposal that you are submitting on January 15th is the first part of the assignment, which is 20% of your final grade, right? So once you submit the proposal, that means the proposal has the summary of the what you are going to do, right? You have the rationale, the aim and objectives, and theoretical and all that. Then once you get the feedback, they evaluate that, send you the feedback. That, and of course that the 3 slides, all those go as the material that you submit for the proposal deadline. Once you get this back with the comments, you incorporate those comments and revise this into maybe all the way up to 1,500 words even, and then get that as your introductory chapter for your 9,000 word project report. Then you do the second chapter, third chapter, and
Yeah.
so on.
So,
Okay.
sir, we are left with 8,000 words, no, for the last submission.
Yeah. Basically, once you do this project proposal, you are left with 8,000 words for the chapter 2, 3, 4, and 5. Basically, chapter 2, 2,500 words, like I showed you there, and which is the literature review. Then chapter 3, method of analysis, 1,500 words. So 4,000 words there. And then um, chapter 4, discussion, another 2,500 words maybe, right? So 6,500. And uh, chapter 5, conclusion, maybe 1,000 words, 7,500. And then chapter 1, 1,500. So 7,500 plus chapter 1,500, 9,000. Okay, that is how it comes. Chapter 1 means enhanced proposal. Once this proposal is enhanced or revised up to the chapter 1 as an introduction.
Sorry for the interruption, sir. Another question,
Go
that
ahead.
is that it will be impact to that like plagiarism. In fact, that like, we include same thing in the 9,000 word report is.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't. Yeah, it wouldn't, because this is exactly what they asked you to do. So they would not take that as factor in terms of having the same content in that. Uh,
Yeah.
this is
For the double
actually,
checking
yeah, that
purpose,
is.
that means we need to include that proposal as an
Mhm,
introductory chapter, that
mhm.
with modifications. Like same thing need to be.
Yeah, with modifications that in addressing all those comments and things. That is how your 9,000 word report comes in with that introductory chapter. um, but before you even worry about all that, first think about the topic and this getting this proposal right, because if you get the proposal right, then it makes things much easier to write the rest of that, in terms of the discussion and the literature review and all that. Because even to get the proposal, even though it's 1,000 words, you still have to read a lot of articles, because you cannot write the proposal or you cannot describe the type of study, the research that you are going to do, if you don't have enough information about the studying that you are going to do, the research that you are going to do. That means basically you'd have to look at a lot of research articles, journal articles, to have an idea about, okay, This is the type of study then I can do. This is the type of things that I can analyze. And therefore, the topic should be like this. It takes time. Okay, it takes time. That's why it is important to start reading about these things. Start entertaining these ideas that you may have in your mind already. Like, okay, I can, study this. I can maybe have this topic, and then start looking at the literature, looking at the information. You might find out maybe it is not easy to write about this because you don't have that much of information. So then you may have to change it. Think about a different topic, and then start looking at things. Okay. And it has to be something, the practical laws, practical in the sense that to have some value in terms of, implementation. You have to show that there are some theories that have been built, with this, this particular topic that you are talking about, and people have discussed these things, and there are certain models that people have created. So you should be able to back your argument up with those type of evidence. So in order to know all that, you have to look into this. You have to read a lot. That takes time. So that's why I'm saying that you may not be able to come up with the topic right away. It takes time, but at least see whether by next Sunday, before next class, you can have a topic decided and some idea about what you can write about these things. If you can do that, then that means that's you are on track. Then your time is okay. um, does that make sense?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, it's regarding the topic. I'm planning to do in the e-commerce. That means challenges faced by e-commerce industry in Sri Lanka.
Hmm.
So I geographically planning to stick to Sri Lanka. So when I getting the articles and all, there might be a lack of articles related to Sri Lankan context. So there might be articles related to overall
Exactly.
worldwide. So can I get that?
Exactly. So
Can
that
I
is
apply that in the Sri Lankan context, or do I need to look for articles or
this
researches related to Sri Lankan e-commerce related challenges articles?
challenges. And when you say, of course, challenges, then you have to say, in the sense that when you look at these articles, you yourself will figure out. It is your research should not be only just looking at the challenges, and then challenges and how to overcome them, or how people have faced those challenges and how they have overcome um, those challenges maybe. um, then if you don't find enough articles done in Sri Lankan industries, e-commerce industry, then that is exactly what I said. Then either you expand your geographical area to maybe Asia or South Asia or something, and then start looking for these things. And then if you find enough, then you go with that. Or you change the e-commerce thing. It's not the thing that then you should be looking at. Maybe something that where you can find enough information. That's why I said that sometimes even the maybe you have something in mind as a topic, but when you start looking into it, you will run into problems. Not enough evidence, not enough articles to go by, um, and then you may have to change it. So do a good thinking, good research on that also, and come up with a good topic where you can have enough information, and also it is meaningful, and you are interested in knowing about that, and you can maybe produce something valuable to others who would like to read that report. Those are the concepts behind your search process for a topic.
Thank you, sir.
Is that okay? Yep, you are welcome. So try to narrow down and then zero in a topic or two, maybe one or two choices you might still have by next week. That's okay. To get to that, you may have already then read some of the articles about them, and that is not going to go to waste. Believe me, whatever you read in search of these things will come in handy. You will be able to use that knowledge, right? um, Somewhere down the road, if not in this particular assignment, but there may be other things that you can use. So therefore, don't worry, just use whatever the time that you can use. I mean, a lot of reading to do. Therefore, start reading, searching about this information, and see whether you can come up with a topic by next Sunday. Okay, then from there onwards, the rest of the time you can develop the proposal. Of course, if you can settle in, because there are some people, sometimes you have already at workplace have looked into certain things, and therefore you already have an idea that it is an area where you can explore further. That's fine, you go with that topic, and then you already have the information that you have looked into at workplace. Start from there, and then do further analysis. All right. Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay. Since it's 12:40, then we will call it a day, and then we will meet up again next Sunday at 8. And during that time, please see whether how much of this you can read. Don't postpone it. That's the main thing. I know there are a lot of other things coming up, and work is there, and everything else is there. But give priority to this also, and read and read about these things so that you can come up with a topic by next Sunday. All right. Good luck and enjoy the rest of the day. I'll see you next Sunday.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You are welcome. Okay. Bye.
Thanks, sir, for the
Thank
clear guidance.
Thank you,
You are
sir.
welcome.